Hello, everyone. Welcome once again to the African Technology Authors and Speakers Forum. Our aim is to host people who are experienced speakers and or writers and to learn from them, especially in the context of Africa. And a big part of what we do is to reach out to young African women in particular, because we need so many more of them on the conference speaking circuit and writing blogs and in newspapers. And we have somebody joining us today who I greatly admire. I've seen her speak at more than one event, and that is Dr. Brenda Kubheka-Chauke. What a bio. So I'm going to give you just some highlights, and then I'm going to ask her to tell us more about herself. A distinguished health professional, researcher, entrepreneur, various qualifications, including an MBA from Gibbs, Gordon Institute of Business, and she's finalizing her master's in bioethics. Wow, what a topic, from Harvard Medical School. Wow, what a great school as well. So many other things on her bio. I'm going to obviously add her LinkedIn when we publish this. But Brenda, it's lovely to have you here. Please do more justice to your bio than I've just done.
No, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. As you have mentioned, I am a medical doctor and with special interest in patient safety, ethics, and the intersection of technology, society, and health. And most people actually wonder how I ended up in technology and what triggered my interest. Basically, it was through social media, and I posted something that I had not read fully, and that got me into trouble with my colleagues. And that's where I started engaging with, technology as a tool that can enhance, and sometimes it can also harm. So that's where my interest actually started. So I've
Wow.
been a patient. I've worked as a administrator in the public and the private sector, and I've been a relative of the patient. And I've worked also for a funder. So I always say I have a 360 degree of the healthcare sector.
That's amazing. And I want to touch on bioethics, because what is interesting about your work is this intersection of this rapidly advancing technology with
Mhm.
all the great benefits it can give us, but there's also some scary stuff on what we can do with it. So tell us a little bit about your work and also what you're doing with this master's degree, Brenda.
Yes. No, this has been an amazing, amazing experience. I mean, if you think about it, I was halfway through my PhD when this opportunity actually came, and I said, I am not missing this opportunity for anything. So it has been amazing. And for me, it has actually assisted, one, in understanding and also in framing what bioethics is. So bioethics basically is about building bridges, you know, between the society, health, and technology, if we're talking about technology, and the reality that technology is actually advancing faster than the regulations. If you think of AI, we don't have AI regulations in the country, but all of us are using AI. So that's where the values, ethical values, actually come into play, as a standard that can be set, whether in a profession or in an industry, etc. So it's not about policing. I always tell people that you're not policing whether people are doing the right or the wrong thing, but it's coming from a point of humility and trying to understand, what the different stakeholders are looking for, and where there is a need of building a bridge, it's actually being that active catalyst of building that bridge, so that we're focusing on technology that does good than harm.
Oh, talking my language sounds so interesting, Brenda. We want to encourage you, get that master's degree, get even more done, especially for us here in Africa and South Africa. We need your learnings and your wisdom. Now, I would assume you've done a lot of writing in your life, academic writing, submissions, white papers, but also for us non-academics, like in the popular press or blogs or the like. Tell us a bit about your writing experience over the years.
Yeah. So this is quite interesting because, when you are a curious person and very inquisitive, and also listen to your gut when you feel uncomfortable about certain things. So that's the avenue that I've found for me to actually process some of these things, question and do a bit of research, even when writing for the popular, media platforms. I mean, I just published a paper, not a paper, an opinion piece got published on Human Rights Day about climate change, ethics, human rights, etc. So for me, it's the ideas are all around us. What actually excites you, you can actually share that with others through writing. And what gives you discomfort, also, it means it's something that you need to stand up, show up, and you can actually use writing as a tool to get you into the boardrooms where you'll never be invited, but your writing will actually get there. So I take it as a advocacy tool. And then also it's very good for professional branding, because you'll get your speaking invite through the papers that you've written. You get invited into joining certain committees because of that, and even boards because of that. So it does have a value for a person, and also does have value for the society or the profession, depending where you are pitching, even influencing policy as well.
Mm. And I often say, I don't think good writers or speakers are necessarily born. I think they are. It's not a gift; it's a skill.
Yes.
Um, and we'll get to the speaking part, Brenda. But learning to write and to write well, has that come naturally for you, like from school days, or over the years? Have you gotten better, but it was always daunting? Tell us a bit about your journey, and especially for young people listening who feel, oh my word, I don't even know how to write, and English is not my first language, and I'm gonna struggle. Did you also deal with those things? Do you sometimes still deal with it?
So when it comes to writing, I always say respect the audience. So if you have that, there'll be a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of discomfort, but it's good because it forces you to check your facts. It forces you to try and be better, or at least get better all the time. So for me, writing was there before medical school, but medical school, with the hours and the demands and whatever, it just killed it, until my MBA. And I was blessed with the most wonderful supervisor, that, highlighted, the importance of storytelling, even in academic writing. And post that experience, then I just started writing and I never stopped. So to those that are worried about whether they are able to write, and worried about English being a second language, like myself, we live in the world of AI. So you can have, the different tools to assist with language editing, etc. And I'm all about using AI ethically. I'm not against, using AI to refine your ideas, etc. But you also need your voice to actually come through in your writing. And the more you write, people get to know how you write and how you sound. So when AI steps in, they will see that it wasn't really yourself. So I'm just saying, let's use the tools that are available. And then there's also some online free courses that one can attend and take advantage of those, and you also need to invest in yourself as well. So if that opportunity comes where you need to pay X, you can afford to attend a course, I'll say take advantage of that. And it's all about getting better, improving yourself, and also just surrounding yourself with people that are available to read your material most of the time at no cost, and they can give you valuable feedback, and you can refine your articles, etc. And again, if you send, it's an interesting topic, you want to send a submission to a news house, you can always ask for feedback. And I've found that even if it's rejected, some people will provide the feedback if you ask for the feedback and how you could have done things differently. So always be, open to receiving that feedback. Give it a try. They're very busy. They get a lot of of requests and submissions as well. And if they don't respond, don't take it personally. But the rule that I got when I did my media and medicine training at Harvard is that if you don't get a response within 48 hours, take it that it's been rejected and go somewhere else. But you need to be ethical again. You can't be submitting to more than one, media house at a time. It should be one submission and then deal with the rejection and then move to the next, etc. So you might find that at different times, the focus areas are different. So it's not that you are rejected because your writing is not good. Maybe it's because the topic that you've brought forward is not topical or of interest at that particular time. My advice, so if today there is a story in the news about whatever, so write today and submit today your opinion piece and see what happens. Don't wait for a week. Give yourself a window of 24 hours because it's a hot topic and everyone is talking about it.
Yes, so much you've just said there in like 3 minutes, Brenda, that we could unpack. But I do agree, if it's topical, the editors will probably look at it much better or
Mm-hmm.
faster. For instance, in Jan, when DeepSeek was a big thing, if anyone you sent a submission to, they wanted to publish, because there was so much buzz around it. So, and I also find that, look out for specific holidays or days like Women's Day, other days, and write for that topic because they want to publish about that topic on the day. I want to ask you, Brenda, about your writing method. So, for instance, do you write better in the mornings than in the evenings? Do you write at your table or in a coffee shop rather? And it's different for all of us, but what works for you to almost get out of that procrastination and get into that creative zone?
Oh my word. I write at home. I love coffee shops, yes, for writing. I also get inspiration from that. So it's for me, it's I get an idea. I need to write about it today and at the most within 24 hours. And I do it much better in the evening. I suppose because it's quieter. Remember, I'm a wife and there's a lot of things that are going on and I also work and stuff. So the evenings actually work out, they work much better for me. And I also find the coffee shops, honestly, a good place to get inspiration. And then I do take writing retreats as well, but mainly for academic writing because obviously it demands a different me when I do that academic writing. So I find inspiration, secluded place, whatever that works for you. For me, the mountain, etc. So that works for me. And when I struggle and I have to write and I struggle, I make sure that I get myself out of my usual space into that environment that I know that it inspires me.
Mm. I also find that works for me, and many people I know is I can do a lot of writing at home, but sometimes it's just like it's not getting there. And then
Yes.
I've got a favorite coffee shop. When I walk in, the cappuccino is already ready. And I put on my earphones, and no one bothers me because I don't face the door. But
Mm-hmm.
it's a thing for writing. Find that zone, even if it's a different room in your house. Uh,
Yes.
but experiment. And I want to pivot to speaking, and I want to ask you your road to conference speaking. And I almost want to say outside of academia. So call it popular or no conferences for us normal people. It's not submitting an academic paper. I've seen you at a number of AI conferences.
Yes.
It's that journey, and I want you to weave in the feelings that some people have about, I don't know if I have a voice. I don't know if they'll listen to me. I'm too nervous. What if they reject me? Because it's daunting.
Mm-hmm.
Writing for me is a bit easier, even though you're still putting yourself out there. But to
Mm-hmm.
speak in front of people, I think it's the most difficult thing for most of us. So, what was your journey and your learnings in that process, Brenda?
Oh my. I suppose some of it starts from early on, like schooling and high school. We had opportunities to present our projects and and you find a way of dealing with your fears, etc. But then you get to the real world where now the fear is about, am I going to say the right thing? Will that impact my, career and my professional image, etc.? I just want to say that being fearful is normal. It is normal. And again, for me, it's a fear that is rooted on respecting my audience. I always say the same thing, that you have to respect your audience. So if you respect your audience, you will prepare. You will practice, you will rehearse. If you've been given 10 minutes, you better make sure that it's within the 10 minutes. Remember that you're speaking to an audience that are potential people or organizations that may be inviting you to come speak again. You don't know who's sitting in that audience that could be writing an article about that particular event. So it's important to prepare, over prepare, and remember that you have to respect the audience. It's not about you, it's about the audience. So once you understand that it is about the audience, you have to research. So what's recent and that's interesting, that's linked to what I'm going to be speaking about. So hence, even academically, when I get invited and they ask us to submit our presentations like 10 days or 20 days before the actual event, I tell them that yes, I'm submitting because it's requested, but be prepared that it may change slightly, maybe here and there, especially around examples and stuff. If anything of interest and that is important comes up, that also shows that you prepare. That shows that you're on top of things, and you are also an expert and are interested in other voices within that space. And then secondly, it's an issue around how you present, your content. One, starting with yourself, which is the voice. So again, we have so many gadgets that you can use, even on Microsoft itself, to prep and get feedback. And you can around how you pace, how you sound. And the main thing is about projecting your voice so that you sound confident, and you are confident because you've prepared, and you can actually manage that talk or presentation. And then if you're going to use slides, warning, do not rely on your slides because anything may happen on that day. So what I always do is I would have my presentation on my iPad, on my phone, and on my laptop, and the one that I've sent to the organizers. But anything can happen. You are the subject matter expert. You should be able to give a talk without your slides. So again, that preparation is very important. And then now coming to, if you're going to use the slides, is again whether you can afford to get training or look at free or affordable courses on Coursera, online platforms, etc., the different ones, and take those, because again, you are taking this content to the audience. It's not about you, so it shouldn't be overwhelming, the text and pictures and moving colors, so that you get the understanding of what to do and what not to do. Like the advice that you get regarding rapid moving images, different colors that can trigger, people that are epileptic to get a seizure, etc. It's that understanding. But if you want to be a speaker and a respected speaker, you have to invest in your craft. In your craft. Now I'm saying craft. Excuse me. In your craft. So it's the practice. It's investing in upskilling yourself, whether it's getting a coach, attending a course, etc., and also being in a group or a setup where you can get support from your peers.
Again, so much
What
wisdom.
Johan is doing, yeah.
Yes. Before we conclude, Brenda, something close to my heart, and I know to yours as well, is how do we inspire more young women to stand up and to speak? Now, some of the best speakers I've seen at tech conferences are women, highly skilled, highly experienced, but there's not enough of them.
Yes,
What some of my friends have said is that some of them come from cultures where you were supposed to be seen and not heard as a young lady. They may be in relationships like that. It's almost unheard of that you stand up and you speak. And I think a lot of, especially African women, probably struggle depending on their upbringing. How do we encourage more of these wonderful young ladies, and what would your advice be to them?
Okay. So yeah, some of us come from the African background, but matriarchs, women that own their voices. That's the environment that I grew up in. From my paternal side and my maternal side as well. I think it's important for us as women to identify what we call imposter syndrome, where we think that we are in spaces we don't belong, we keep on second guessing ourselves, we don't have the right skills, etc. And you find that when you look around, amongst your colleagues, and the less qualified of men will raise their hands and take advantage of the opportunities. So it is that we need to be intentional about fighting so that we can stand up, raise our hands, and show up. So, as a woman, what I'm going to say is that we're not so well represented when it comes to the media, conference presentations, etc. One, for that reason of imposter syndrome, and then two, the historical, social, factors that also influence some of those things. But I want to tell you that as a woman, you bring in a different perspective into the conversation, because no one that is not a woman would be thinking about women issues from an experience perspective, because they don't know how it is, being a woman, and what is the journey you've walked as a woman, even in tech, and how tech maybe is not representing the interest of women. And it is, again, the women that have to raise such, because some of it, we may look at, discrimination, underrepresentation, etc., which is not intentional. And until we break that cycle by raising our hands, asking the difficult questions, and also availing ourselves to actually speak for other women that don't have voices, that will never have an opportunity to stand in front of those audiences. So we need to push ourselves, not just for us as individuals, but for us as role models for other women, and as us for advocates for women issues, and for us to make sure that we don't get automated out of benefits, etc., because we're not involved in those conversations. Hence the importance of, the diversity when it comes to technology, when it comes to health tech, when it has to do with allocating benefits, etc. So if the faces are not represented and the voices are not represented around the boardrooms, so there is a risk that those voices may be missing. So, and as a Black speaker and a female speaker, again, when I stand up for all the women, I stand up for all the African women, because also our experiences are unique. And it's only us that will raise those voices, whether in healthcare or in tech as well.
It's about what I hear from what you said, amongst many things, is it's a moral responsibility. It's not about you, but people want that role model, and especially a young lady sitting in the audience, because she will think, if that woman can do it, maybe I can do it too. And I think for the ladies out there listening, especially those who are experienced in speaking and writing, we all, but you in particular, have a responsibility to show to other young women this can be done. And maybe a bit of mentoring, maybe even if it's writing about it. But Dr. Brenda, this was a singular honor. We wish you well for all the studies. I look forward to seeing you at the next conference. And just thank you for your time. Thank you for all the wonderful golden nuggets that you have shared today.
Great. And thank you so much for having me. I'm looking forward to graduation in May, so it's almost done.
All the best.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.